Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here, and I am doing May the 4th Inch Be With You today. It is a quilter's national anthem, I think, right? It is what we have to do, that 1/4 inch. So May the 4th Inch be with you today. And these are my shirts over at the Katie Spain site. And I want to remind you that my commission off of all the shirts for the month of, actually for the month of November and December, is all going to World Central Kitchen. And on Tuesday, I'll give you a new update on how much we have donated, which is over $1,000 so far. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, color of the month. I've been doing this year. Let me know in the comments if you have enjoyed the color of the month. So basically what I'm doing is assigning you a color, and then over in my Quilt Along with Pat Sloan group, you are sharing quilts that are primarily that color. So this month it is black and white. Share quilts that you've done that are black and white, and it's okay if you have a tiny little bit of another color in there, because I know a lot of people don't do strictly black and white, but you might have black and white and a touch of purple, touch of pink, touch of light green. But show us ones that are primarily black and white for the December. But tell me if you've enjoyed this, because I think it's kind of fun. But if you didn't like it, you know, if nobody answers, if nobody liked it, then maybe I won't do it next year. You know, it's just always fun to have a little something different to share. And everybody seems to enjoy when I assign a topic, because that gives you a chance to look through your quilts and see what you've done and remind yourself. So in all, it is all good. It is all good. And speaking of color, the Pantone company puts out a color every year. And this year they have put out Mocha Mousse. Mocha Mousse. Oh, such a gorgeous shade. A very light mocha chocolate. The first thing I saw about the color was my favorite coffee shop, who of course is celebrating that color because many of our coffees are that color. And then if you go over to the Pantone Facebook group, and they probably do it, a Facebook page, they probably have it other places too, but they have a little video running, and they show just, it looks gorgeous, you know, like melted chocolate and all different things. If you are not a fan of the color brown, you can keep quiet about it today, okay? Shh, shh. Keep that to yourself. We only want to hear from the fans of mocha. Mocha. Yeah. Mocha mousse. They didn't even call it chocolate. Mocha mousse. Yum. Okay, so that's a fun color. It is wrapping up yesterday's flower patch block, because I ran out of minutes in the day to actually finish the block and film. But I have a bunch of clips for looking through or walking through this last part of it. So let's take a look before I show you the block. So this quilt has lots of sew and flips. Oh, I forgot to trim that one. 2 of them I forgot to trim. So here you can see the back. One side's trimmed and one side isn't trimmed yet. Here is a trimming away that was from this side. Okay, all right. So this was a square like this, right? You know, sew and flip. This is a square, and then you sew corner to corner. I'm going to show you that over here, and then you trim away. So these you can sew them as a start and stop, and they'll probably finish, I'm guessing, maybe you'll trim them to 2 inches. I don't think they'll trim to 2.5. I haven't tried one yet. So I'll try one here in a second and see what it shows up as. So almost all the I think pretty much all the units in this are sew and flip. So for this one, we're sewing, there we go, see? And I am using the guide beam on the Solaris. So here's a Solaris, that's the guide beam. This is a double guide beam. That's how they have it set up. You know, gives you lots of control. And then with the guide beam, I am just sewing from corner to corner, and I'm using this guide beam that's right even with my needle. There we go. Then I will be going and pressing this over and trimming back. And then I'll show you the second half of this one, because there's 2 parts to make this star point. Well, it looks like I'm going to be able to get 2.5-inch half square triangles. So I'll be using this trimmer tool. Quilt in a Day is my favorite, and I'll be trimming the two sides and press it open. Then I'll have a stack of these that I can make into a little table runner, a table mat, a bunch of coasters, something like that. You know, they're gonna have quite a few. These will be the same size because they're all the same. But when I do this way, I'll have a funky piece because that's the second half. So I'll show you that one then. But here, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, decent size, not too tiny. Here's the sequence of the sew and flip. You have the block with just a square, and you've sewn corner to corner like I just did. You press it over. So here it is pressed over, right? And it's all even. You check everything so that you don't have it pulling away. You don't have the backing showing on the front. And then you trim away from 1/4 inch from the seam. You trim away this part that goes out towards the edge. It's the only thing you can trim. You can't trim on that side or you'll cut the block. So you trim away, and this is what it looks like after you've trimmed away. And then this one is ready for the next part of the star, which is to sew it the same size square, but sew the opposite direction. So it comes like that. It comes like that. Looks like a little present. Isn't that cute? Yeah, so this is the points, and there's 2 of these on each side of the star. So there's 8 of these units for each of the blocks, and then the 4 corners and the center. Here are the 4 units across the top of the block. The 2 that we just did for the end with the lighter blue, and then the star color down on the right or on this side, and then these ones that we're making right now, the 2 of them will go together, and this is how the outer part. And then we have the center, which is a square and a square, which is also done in a super clever way, which I'll show you when we get to it. I get out another design board. So there's the 4 corners that we did, and the light blue is on the outside. This is your star fabric, whatever you have, and then there's 2 of these per side, so you can see how everything is going to come together. And you can now see, I hope you can see how this star floats, because these are rectangles and not squares. If they were squares, then the star points would be right up at the top, right up here. But because they're floating, it gives this whole other effect. Now I will be taking one of these for the middle, and then we're going to do 2 sides like this, and then 2 longer sides like this, right? And we're going to build this center unit, this square here, and then we'll take more sew and flips, and you'll be doing that to get that effect of the middle. A square. So this will be sewn first, and then after that we'll put this on. So I'll go ahead and sew that center. So cute. This would kind of make a good door banner too, if you made it made another border around it to get it just a little bit bigger. 2.5-inch border around it. That'd be so cute. And the last component is the center. So you're going to do 4 corners. So 1, then you're going to do I would do the opposites, and then press them and cut the backs away, and then do the other 2. There's a slight bit of overlap when you do the other side. So I would do 2 and then do the opposite sides. Let me get the block all done. I've been sewing these units, and we'll take a look. This top and bottom, they're sewn like this. They are not pressed yet, and this pro tip, I highly recommend that you press this before you continue, before you add it up here, because I know it's a temptation. Hurry, hurry, hurry. We'll just finger press it, but you're just much more successful if you press it flat. Like these are pressed flat in order to come against here, which is pressed flat. Doesn't that look great? Okay, let's finish it up. Loving it so much. This is going to be really great. It'll be the center one. I'm doing 3, so there'll be 1, 2, and 3, a third one. And the next, we'll talk about this quilt for 5 weeks. I will either make this into a vertical to hang in a spot in my home or a table runner. Either way, I'll just quilt it with the wave stitch. That is kind of my fast, easy way to do the project. And when I would quilt this, like if it's it'll be a long piece, I will quilt the length, because I just think that stopping and starting in a long, only this many, a little bit wider lengths is mentally better than doing 20 times more short across like this. That is mentally draining to even think about it. I have to go 50 times this way or 8 times that way. Which would you pick? But of course, that is personal preference, which is the great thing about quilt making. You can do it the way you like to do it on just about, well, on everything. Even if you do it wrong and you like it wrong, you know, nothing's really wrong. It is just your choice of how you want to do it. All right, so that is all those things. We're going to wrap up because I could not resist doing one more Ode to the National Park quilt parade. And so I have about 20 pieces that I picked out of the Quilt Along with Pat Sloan group to share with you that were shared over the last couple weeks, and so we'll do that right at the end. But before that, I want to talk about the Tula Pink 100 blocks, which is a project for starting in January. And 2 things, I was taking everything down and I totally forgot. It's like, this came from Jenny in Oregon. It's for my mushroom tree, pink velvet with lots of glitter on it. They're so adorable. Thank you. And my friend Kendall, who has a YouTube channel, I link it in the description box. He yesterday on his Wednesday video showed you his version of the flower patch with gratitude. I think he also did gratitude and grace, if I can remember correctly. If not, he's using a different fabric, but he's got some tips and things on how he put it together. So you want to jump on over there and catch up with that. This is the book. I think many of us have, many of us have seen this book. A lot of you have probably seen it. Many of you bought the book, but you never got around to doing it. So I was kind of in that boat. I didn't actually have it until I decided I would work on it. But I thought, you know, they're easy blocks. They're not too complicated. I want to accomplish that this Quilt Along will finish in October. I am not doing through December. It'll finish in October. But you have choices. And I may not do all 100 blocks because I do not want to make the quilt that showcases 100 blocks. I want to make one of the other quilts which all showcase less blocks. And that's where you have to decide. Well, you don't have to decide, but at some point you have to know which quilt you want to make so that you can decide on, you know, background fabric maybe and stuff like that. Maybe you just want to totally wing it. That's okay too. So these are what the blocks look like. These are the pattern pages. They're more like, think of them like diagrams, but they do have the coloring. So, you know, the pattern sizes are, the shape sizes are all there. Okay, they just put fabric drops in everything to match in the diagrams. And there's some color stuff in here, but I want to show you the layouts because this one is called Skyline. Okay, where is it? Here we go. This is called Skyline, and it is my favorite. This is the one that made me want to do this. And how many blocks are in Skyline? Oh, come on. Oh, 70. So this is 70 blocks, and it is called a twin size quilt. So when you have the book, it's 66 by 68. And that is a great size because more than likely I will hang it. And so, yeah, I do not want the 100 block. And the 100 block is, this just doesn't appeal to me, this layout. This is 100 blocks. Now, it is kind of cool where they did a rainbow effect for this one. So you can see that it's red, yellow, green, purple, and the blocks are primarily colored, and then there's some transition ones with red and yellow, green and blue, blue and purple, you know, to do a color wash like that. That's kind of cool. But I don't want a quilt like that. So then there's a couple, I think, other layouts. Here's another layout here. This one, which is also kind of cool and is less blocks. That one is also 70 blocks, but 80 by 93. It's a bigger quilt. So personally, I am doing this layout, and that means you have to go to the supply list for it to get what's needed, you know, and so, you know, you'll have to have the book and look yourself as to what you need for what you want to do. So that is a decision to make before, you know, I would say before you get going, but you know, you can be wild and crazy and just start and then check later on what you want to do. A lot of the blocks are not done with a background. The background is kind of used just in the setting. So I'm probably going to set mine on white. One of my, probably from Gratitude and Grace, you know, probably this right here from Gratitude and Grace. That's what I'll use. And then I have, this is the Tula Pink fabrics that I have. I bought this bundle, which is out there right now, called Untamed. So I bought that. I have this that came in some package, you know, this got the rabbits. The thing is, a lot of these are you know, they're rich colors. They're some of them are a bit fluorescent like that. And then I also have this whole bin, which is also Tula Pink fabric that I've collected for a while. Some of this is you know, from the Curiouser and Curiouser, whatever that line was, kind of Alice in Wonderland inspired. And so what I will be doing the first day really is I'm going to take all of these fabrics on the first day of doing my first block, and I'm going to cull down the number of fabrics so that I eliminate, like I might take out the fluorescence, so I might take out gray. You know, who knows what I'm going to do. I don't really know. What I need to do is sort it all by color so that I know how much I have of the different colors, and then decide if there's one or two that have less color, you know, like maybe there's less grays, so maybe I take the grays out. Maybe I keep them on the side for just a little accent here and there. But I find for me personally, I prefer my color palette to be a little more narrow, not as many. Even though it'll be set on white, you could also set it on black, you could set it on navy, you could set it on green, you could do whatever you wanted, particularly like if you're doing that cityscape. There's some neat sky fabrics out there. Could you see this set on like a navy sky fabric with stars? Oh, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. So that's where I'll be going with that. And there is a project page at my website, so you can take a look at the basics. I gave you the 100 block, how much background you need for that one, if you don't have the book yet, and that's what you're going to be doing. Otherwise, I'm not going to list them all. You need to get the book. So there you go. Okay, let's do a quilt parade to wrap up for today. Amy starts off our parade. This is so pretty. She has some novelty fabrics in there, and I just love that sort of rusty orange for the border and the sashings. Looks so good. Annette's here. We've watched Annette put together with the patches and the different little like postcard images around the center panel. This turned out amazing. Great job. Cassie's is in purple. Oh my goodness. Well, not all purple, but lots of purple. I love it. Cheryl's is got a wonderful top. She's got butterfly fabric. You can see it in a lot of the different blocks. So pretty. I love that gray border too. Colleen's, oh, she did block number 1. Many of you used block number 1 for special quilts this year. This one turned out great. Dawn, oh look, she is the one that used my fabric, and I adore this. This is absolutely incredible. And then she showed the back, because look at the back. So she had some larger pieces of fabric and then some extra star blocks. So good. Way to go. Debbie's, oh, look at the gingham. The gingham in the setting, and she's got space cats and kangaroos. some spaceships. That is so fun. And I love her border with it, the sort of piano keys, which are the strips, and then larger chunks of fabric. That looks fabulous. Here is Dee's quilt, and in the sashing, she used her husband's national park patches. That is an excellent way to show the patches. How awesome is that? Oh, love that. You guys have all done such creative things. Here is Erin's, and this has the bear. You can see in the center block, it has the bear smelling the flowers. Oh, this is so good, so good. Love that color combination too. That sort of minty green and pinks, and it looks like, I'm not sure if that's black or really dark green. Either one looks super good in that combo. Gail's warm and cozy version. That looks like fall. That looks like fall with my favorite sort of olive green border on there. And this is Gail's number 2. I think it's the same Gail. That's what my note says. Look at this. I just love it. You did a great job, especially doing 2 of them. Here is Georgia's. Beautiful fabric, and she's got that black and white gingham, some dots repeated, and then I love it, and then her backing, where she used strips, looks so good. Get a few backing peaks this time. Lisa's, and it's all finished. I see binding, and I see the awesome wave stitch. Way to go. She's got a chunky border on it. It looks fantastic. That's a great way to use up some of the fabrics. Like if you just have some pieces left, instead of doing a solid border, chunk it out like that, uses it up. Mary's so pretty, very soft. Oh, love it. Love that pale yellow. And a different Mary. Look at the patches all the way around as that inner border, and then she did another wider outer border, and that looks like a feature fabric that has probably national park or park type images on it. And in the centers are the sort of the same, like a lot of the blocks rather have the same postcard type fabric. So clever. And Patsy's beautiful with binding. Oh, no, not binding. It's all quilted, but it's beautiful. She said on there she has to do the binding, but after Christmas. And she used the wave stitch as well. It looks super good. Peggy's, look at this. The gray and that rust color looks like fall. And she's got some fabric with little chickadees in it. Super, super cute. Just a couple more. Sandra's also did block number 1, and I love how it turned out. It's a little bit additional parts to it with some sashing. That looks fantastic. And Tammy will wrap up our tour, our last tour of the Ode to the National Park. Oh, yours is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. This has been so fun. I can't wait to see what you do with Grandma's Kitchen.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I just can't wait. You just knocked it out of the park with Is that a pun? Knocked it out of the park with Ode to the National Parks. And I know Grandma's Kitchen will be totally amazing. You will have such great memory making with it, whether it's your grandma, maybe a great aunt, maybe a family member who was that grandma figure to you, or you're going to do your own memories as a grandma and what you're doing with your grandchildren, which is also another way to approach it. So it'll be super, super exciting. Okay. Block number 1 of the flower patch is out. If you're doing the whole quilt, you're going to do 3 blocks this week, and we'll talk about it next week. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.